Hello, guys, and welcome back to another live stream. I don't have my background today, very much like kind of sorry about that, but I'll just give you like a little look-see of some palm trees. Hopefully that will kind of make up for it. AJ, how are you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Lots to talk about on the charts. We do have, Bitcoin on that verge of breaking out, but I will go through that with you today because there is potential for a little bounce. But yeah, I'll show you that in a moment.
And this is the thing, we're at such key levels of support and resistance right now. We're getting
Yeah,
squeezed. A lot of the coins getting squeezed. The DXY is slightly edging up and, slightly weighing on the rest of the crypto market. So, I mean, look, let's just quickly jump in. We're going to be talking mainly about the charts today. I'm just going to take like 30 seconds or a minute just to go through this little bit of information here. Just quickly, UK guys, not doing so great. So inflation was higher, I believe. I need to refresh this. So here we see inflation in the UK higher than expected, and then we see slightly lower GDP growth in the euro area. Both bits of bad news, which kind of indicates, maybe more people putting some money into the old dollar. And then later on, we have the FOMC minutes from last month. Later on this week, just more of the same, employment. And then we talk about inflation in the Eurozone. Not really too much to talk about. But I do just want to mention this tornado cash. Obviously, we know what happened. We know that the guy who coded it has been arrested. Well, potentially the guy who coded it has been arrested in Amsterdam. But there has been a bit of a backlash, kind of, saying, well, actually, hang on. Tornado Cash is an Ethereum privacy protocol that anonymizes coin transactions. These protocols are similar to Monero and Zcash, which mark sender and receiver data and crypto transactions, which, to be honest, that's, Bitcoin was kind of created to have more control of your money and not necessarily allow people to know exactly who's doing what. And this is why it was so popular on the dark web. So I do think we will probably now come into a time where people want that privacy back. And so I think, having things like Tornado Cash being banned could actually be quite bad and could lead to things like Monero and Zcash also being banned as well. So I don't know how that's going to play out overall in the markets. But like I said, we're here primarily for some old technicals. I better not do that too much. Hey? I'm not going to say that. Yeah. Carver Kid, I'm glad they arrested him and not Do Kwon. Mate, Do Kwon, he's the worst. Actually, on a separate note, I did hear that Do Kwon hired a South Korean-based law firm. So he's obviously preparing for something. Don't know exactly what he's preparing for. Of course he's worried. I'd be worried, he's lost a lot of people a lot of money. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, AJ, let's get into some technicales. What's the first and most important chart that we're going to be looking at today?
I think it's got to be Bitcoin. A lot of these altcoins, whether Bitcoin goes up a tiny little bit, we see these altcoins, pump quite a lot, especially in these, having these bear market rallies. And, I think this could potentially be what we're seeing here, what we've seen previously, this nice price action towards the upside coming all the way up to 25,000. I think it could possibly be just a nice big bear market rally, and we could have this next leg down and this break to the downside of this pattern. If we do get this break towards the downside of this pattern, could be that next leg down for Bitcoin, which could take us back to those lows for around 19,000, 18,000, potentially all the way back down to 17,500. But taking a look at this 4-hour chart here, what we can see is that Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking towards the downside of this support level here. As you can see right here, we are literally testing that support level. And this is a very, very critical level. As you can see here, major support previously all the way back down here. All the way back down here as well, you can see that we've had more support along this level. So, but it is a major support level for Bitcoin. And if we do break towards the downside, I think we are going to see that next leg down for Bitcoin. Looking at the targets, the first target for me would be around $22,700 approximately, where we had this touch here. Then the second take profit would be around $20,700, where we touched here again. And then the target would technically be at the very bottom of this pattern, which is sat just under $19,000. So those are sort of the take profit points which I would be looking at. If I just draw them on the screen for you here. So that first one would be around $22,700. The second one would be around $20,700, and then approximately $19,000 at the very bottom of this pattern, just a little bit below $19,000. That's only if we were to break towards the downside of this pattern. Now, there are other signals telling me that we are going to see a little push before we could potentially see this break towards the downside, and I think that's very possible. Looking at the indicators, the stochastic RSI, when that very oversold region, telling me that in the shorter time frame we could see a little push before having that initial break towards the downside, which I do expect that we are going to see, because this is a bearish pattern. I do think we are going to see that break towards the downside. Again, looking at the 12-hour, we've got this pattern here as well. This is on the verge of breaking towards the downside as well. For the break towards the downside, I'd like to see a bit of volume. But again, we've got that price target of around $22,900, $21,000 here for the bearish, this rising wedge on the 12-hour, and then again around $19,000 for the bottom of this target. So it would be a great shorting opportunity if we were to break towards the downside. I am just waiting for that initial break downside before taking.
Could you zoom in on this, AJ, just to see like exactly where we are? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, if you just get right in there, real D block. So we're currently, is that a new candle that's moving up and down very slightly?
Yeah. So this is a candle that we just printed around 15 minutes ago here. So we do have another 3 hours and 45 minutes left of this candle. And yeah, as I said, looking at the end, they're in that very oversold region. So I think there's a possibility we could find support along this support level here, have a little bounce towards the upside, maybe even come all the way back up to the top of the resistance before getting a rejection there, and then potentially getting the break towards the downside. We are getting very squeezed. If I zoom out, we are getting very squeezed into the end of this pattern, and we could end up all the way at the end of this pattern and then finally getting that breakout. Now remember, we could break out bullishly out of this pattern, but for me, I do think we are going to break out bearishly towards the downside, and I will show you why I do think that, because looking at this daily, what we can this is a weekly chart. What we can see on the weekly, so ever since we've had those lows, we've seen around a 40% push towards the upside. Now, what we could be seeing, what I told you earlier, is I think this could just be a bear market rally before we get that next leg down. And I can show you that back in the 2018 bear market. So looking at the 2018 bear market, we can see that we sort of established those lows at around $3,100 approximately. And from those lows there, we did have a little rally, which obviously got a lot of people excited. And that rally was around a 35% rally towards the upside. Before then, we got the next move towards the downside. So you can see we had this rally, and then we got the next move towards the downside, creating, forming another low here. It was a high low, but it was another low. So this is what we could be forming on the chart as of right now. We could be forming this sort of bear market rally, and then we get this next leg towards the downside, which could, come down to 19,000, like the target of that rising wedge pattern is, or we could even come lower. I know there's some well-respected people, Il Capo, he does think that we are going to go lower than the previous low, which was $17,500. But in the shorter term, he does still see a lot of early shorts, which makes him think that we are going to go back up to around 25,400, 25,500 before continuing that sort of down, that movement towards the downside, which could be this next leg towards the downside. Yeah.
I was going to say, can I just add something in here? Can you bring up the indicators on this? You know, the classic ones we use. So, I mean, was that stochastic RSI?
This one here is a stochastic RSI.
Yeah,
and that's
relatively high.
Yeah, that is,
That's very high.
sort of getting into that over extended region, which is why I think this is just a bear market rally, and we are going to get that next leg down. And this rising wedge is probably that pattern that is going to take us to those next lows. Well, not next lows necessarily, but just having that next leg down, that lower. Yeah, we may not go lower than $17,500, but there is a possibility that we could as well. So
also, one thing I was going to say, one thing that obviously we keep in mind is that whenever we're doing this type of analysis, it's, we try and take on the opinion of like the institutional trader, which obviously is what, I know that's why kind of AJ is coming to a lot of these conclusions, is that, the institutions, they almost exclusively focus on the weekly and the daily timeframes. It's very rare you see them looking at even a 4-hour chart. So it usually they are focusing on those bigger time frames, the longer trends, because that's where you have more of a solid trend. And so looking at this and then the stochastic, it does kind of give us we have to keep that much wider mindset, as opposed to a day trader who might just be only looking at like the hourly.
Definitely, and even like when I showed you just a minute ago, 2018, we had that bear market rally before the next push towards the downside. And, we've seen that in previous bear markets. Sorry?
It's a shakeout.
Shakeout, yeah, that's exactly what it is, and we do see that pretty much every single bear market. Sometimes it happens once, and then sometimes it happens twice. If I go back to 2015, I think we did see 2 of these. Yeah, so here we go. We established that low. It went all the way down to $167. We had that bear market rally, and then we had a push towards the downside. Then we got another rally, getting people really excited, and then we had another push towards the downside. Before we then started that bull market again. And like I showed you, 2018, we had the exact same thing. We established that low, the bear market rally, and then the pullback. So I do think we are going to have that bear market rally this bear market as well. And I think potentially this has already happened, and we've already had that bear market rally, and we are most likely going to see that next leg down before we start that bull market again. I do think that is something that's very, very possible. And I know that Il Capo, he's a very well-respected chartist over on Twitter as well. He thinks that as well. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but people are talking about this next leg down. And
can you quickly just jump onto, sorry, AJ, just the lower time frame, and then continue what you're saying? It's just that we had someone here, so sort of have a look at that. But continue what you were saying in terms of potentially leg down.
Ooh. Yeah. So that's sort of it. I do think this next leg down is going to happen, and it looks like if we do get this break towards the downside, so we are having a little dump in Bitcoin as of right now. Looking on this bigger time frame, is nothing major yet, but if we do get this confirmed break towards the downside, then I do anticipate we are going to come down further, and we are going to have that next leg towards the downside. And as you said, Ben, it's just that shakeout, getting all those sort of those people that are FOMO'd in, shaking them all out. The institutions are shaking them out, so they
can.
There's one
with the tight stop losses as well.
Yeah, exactly. People with tight stop losses, and then the institutions, what they're going to do is they're going to push the price down, and then they're going to buy all the Bitcoin that you've sold. So that
is such a textbook. Such a textbook. It's insane.
It is, and we've seen it every single bear market before. We've seen it in the previous bear market, so it's bound to happen again. This is what institutions do. So it's exactly what I think is going to happen. And if we do get this break towards the downside, it is going to be confirmed. And another thing that's sort of indicating this to me is the DXY. The DXY is having that push towards the upside after breaking towards the upside of this falling channel here. So for me, if the DXY does continue to push towards the upside, we are going to continue to see Bitcoin pullback as well. And the target technically for this for this breakout towards the upside is around $109. So we could see the DXY come and test the highs of around 109, potentially getting a rejection there. And if it does get a rejection there, then we'll most likely see Bitcoin pump once again. But yeah, I think in the coming days and the coming weeks, we are going to see Bitcoin have a little pullback.
Yeah, I agree. And just to quickly add this in. So obviously, AJ, while you load up the next chart here, tomorrow we do have the core inflation year over year from the euro area, which again, if we have a similar kind of, I guess we'll say like performance as today, the GDP growth underperformed. Perhaps inflation is going to overperform, which obviously is not a good thing, but coming in higher than expected, then we are going to see a lot less institutional money, be held within the euro area. So people buying up those German bonds or French, whatever it might be, they will be moving some of that cash and capital into a more sturdy economy, which at the moment is going to be the US. So that's going to drive the dollar up. And again, typically, as we've said, there's always that correlation between the DXY pumping and Bitcoin dumping. But, something to kind of keep in mind. I don't know, down in the comments, do you think that we will see the DXY go up? And do you view that as an issue? But let's jump in. Say that again, sorry?
I'd like to see everyone's opinion on that. But yeah, we can have a look at Ethereum, have a quick look at Ethereum. Now,
very key level support there is touching, isn't it?
Again, yeah, exactly the same as what's happening to Bitcoin. And, I do anticipate that as well. If we do get the break towards the downside for Bitcoin, we're most likely going to get that break towards the downside of Ethereum as well. It's bound to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They do all follow that. And I mean, so if we do have a break to the downside here, what we're looking at as a TP1, what we're looking at as like a TP2 maybe, if you were to take a short, obviously only if we have the confirmation.
Now, talking about a short here, it's going to be slightly different to Bitcoin. I would short the break towards the downside on Bitcoin, but for Ethereum, I would just like to have just wait a little bit, because we do have this major blue support level here. This has been major support previously, but also resistance when we were below it. So I do think this is going to be a critical level. So if we do break towards the downside, I'm going to wait until we break this support. But if we did break that support, I'll be looking at sort of the touches of this support line. Sort of for the first TP would be around $1,700. That second TP would be sat at around $1,300 approximately. And then sort of that final TP would be around $1,000. And that is something that I think is very likely to happen if Bitcoin does get that break towards the downside and have that next leg towards the downside. It will most likely break the support, but it is a very strong support. So I'd like to just wait and see if we can hold that support or not. If we don't hold the support, then I would open up that short for Ethereum and sort of ignore this $1,700 price target. And I'll be looking at the $1,300.50 approximately and the $1,000 level approximately as those sort of TP points. If we do see Bitcoin coming down to 19,000, 18,000, then there is that possibility that Ethereum is going to come down to 1,300 and then $1,000 again. So that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. And I think that's all for Ethereum.
Can I just quickly add in there that although we do have the merge coming up 15th or 16th of next month, obviously everyone's very excited, but it might be a case of kind of buy the rumor, sell the news. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yes, there is a lot of institutional money waiting to get in, even a lot of retail money waiting to get in to see if it's successful. If it's not successful, obviously you're not going to get in, because what's the point? But we are already seeing that pump to the upside, just because everyone's speculating around it. So it might be a case that people begin to take profits as you get closer, because as we get closer, the price is guaranteed to go up. We'll hit that 2,000 level again, I think probably, but it might be a buy the rumor, sell the news. So keep that in mind, but obviously if we break down from here, technically, Bitcoin probably will lead the way, as you said, AJ, and kind of find us dropping quite far down.
Which, it's not a bad thing. For me, if it does come back down to those prices, I'm just going to be
buying more.
Exactly. Increasing my portfolio. I'm going to be buying more. So it's not a bad thing. And, it gives us as I said, opportunities to buy more, but also get into sort of a long position as close to the bottom as we can. So looking at the volume as well, just quickly, the volume is decreasing as well. We are getting that decrease in volume, which is obviously bearish as well. But that's all I've got for you for sort of for Ethereum. Taking a quick look at Chainlink, I did give you a trade, and I showed you me taking this Chainlink trade as well on Friday and Saturday, and I can see that it is absolutely exploding now if I do just find that. So it's in a 52% profit as of right now. As you can see down there, 52% profit. That's a lovely, lovely trade. And yeah, I gave you my TPs as well on Friday and Saturday. So my first TP was 7.9. We're getting very, very close to that first TP. If we do come to that $7.09 level, I am going to be taking some profit there. But then I do have that final TP at $7.20 all the way down here, because it has been major resistance previously and major support when we were above it. So I do think this is going to act as some nice support. So I will be looking at taking that final profit there. But for me, Ben, you know, a 52, almost 53% trade is pretty good trade, isn't it?
yeah, you can't really complain, you know. And this is the thing. I'm glad that we're, you know, kind of being able to show these a little bit more. If you guys like it, obviously drop a like on the video, and we'll do more of these, like actually giving you a trade beforehand, letting you know what we are doing, not giving any financial advice. Disclaimer, get that in there. But obviously telling you what we're doing and the key areas, because it's so nice to see these unfold as you're watching the videos. It's good for us to be able to do this. And yeah, like you said, 52% ain't bad for just watching a video.
It's not bad, yeah. And like Ben just said there, you know, what I'll do is I'll sort of go through the trades and show you what why I'm entering these trades. And you know, just go over quickly why I entered this trade, because we saw a decrease volume on the volume here. We were coming into previous resistance from this high back here, and then also looking at the indicators were very, very overextended. Those were enough reasons to me to believe that we were going to see a pretty substantial pullback, and that's exactly what we are seeing. So yeah, smash that like button if you do want me to go through more trades like this with you, you know, showing you why I'm entering these trades, and then showing you me executing these trades as well. And yeah, showing you the win percentage as well. Obviously, I know a lot of people like to see that. So yeah, smash that like button if you want me to continue showing these trades. It does help us out a lot as well. But I think that's everything from me on the technical side of stuff. I am either going to go live today or tomorrow. I'll talk to Ben about that because I know he wants to go live as well. I do want to go through some altcoins as well. I want to do a full video just dedicated to altcoins again, because if we are getting this next leg towards the downside for Bitcoin, obviously we're going to have another leg down for the altcoins as well. And we could see this pullback being a potential sort of 30% move, 30-40% move towards the downside if we do get this pullback for Bitcoin. And personally, for me, it would just be great buying opportunities for these altcoins, because I do think if we have another leg down, I think that could be the bottom, because looking at the previous bear market, you know, we had this bear market rally and then we had a pullback, and then we started that bull market. So I do think if we have another leg down, I do think that we are going to sort of establish that bottom, or, you know, confirm that we have already established that bottom, and then we start that bull market. So I want to start getting into altcoins quite heavily. So I will show you sort of where I'm going to be getting into these altcoins, and why I think we are going to have a pullback in these altcoins as well. So yeah, watch out for that video as well.
Good. I'm just going to quickly bring us back onto a little bit about the DXY. So the only reason why is that we have the retail sales month over month coming out like pretty much now. So this is basically the sales data from a basket of different goods, you know, like whether people are kind of buying them or not. So we'll see how this performs. And we obviously want to see, like, you know, lots of sales. We want to see, well, I think for the Fed, we want to see like less sales So they feel as though they've done a good job in contracting the economy, but also, we don't really want to have a recession. Ideally, us, as investors, we want to see that soft landing, that confidence in the industry, or the market, I should say. But yeah, we're also seeing how this is linked to the US dollar. So the dollar is awaiting US retail sales and FOMC minutes. So not really too much going on. Again, you will be expecting lots of volatility later on. But I'm just waiting for this data to come in.
Do you think that's going to affect the DXY price as well?
Again, it's just that confidence in the actual dollar in the overall economy. So yeah, so it was revised down to 0.8, and actually it's come in at 0. So this is it's not really great. There's no change month over month. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be great. Maybe you'll just have a quick look at Bloomberg and see what they have to say about it.
Looking at anything. DXY, we are seeing. Has it been released? Sorry, was it just released?
Yep, just been released. Let's see.
We've seen coming into it. We have seen the DXY increase, which is obviously bad for Bitcoin. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it reacts to that as well. If it does.
So if you just, I can bring my. You can see on here on my screen. So S&P futures just coming down a little bit. We'll see how this kind of progresses.
Looks like we're seeing the DXY pump a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there you go. So US retail sales unchanged, estimated. Yeah. So basically, it's just the same retail sales levels as what we saw before. Which I think overall it's that thing. I don't think that's going to affect us long term, because in terms of a recession, it shows that there's maybe less chance of there being a recession, which is good in the long term, but also in the short term, this immediately tells us that maybe the Fed are not contracting the economy as much as possible, as much as they might want, which is only going to have the effect of this, what we see here, the Fed rate monitor, about how much of an interest rate hike we're going to have. Currently, 57% likelihood that we will have a 50 basis point hike. And this has kind of come down. And obviously, we'll keep you up to date on this. But this is, when they come back in 5 weeks, they've been on holiday for too long.
Enjoying the holiday a little bit. So just going back to the charts quickly, we're seeing Bitcoin pull back and getting this sort of breaking this support level here. Remember, there's still 3 hours and 30 minutes approximately left of this 4-hour candle. But if we do get a break towards the downside, that will be a confirmed break towards the downside, and a pretty major break of this support level as well. It's been a major support level over the past 2 weeks, I think. So yeah, it's going to be very, very major if we do break towards the downside here. And looking at the DXY, seeing the DXY continue to increase, which is obviously bad for Bitcoin as well, and the whole crypto market.
Yep. Okay, there you go. So watch out for this little bit of volatility. Overall, the markets are slightly reacting. Obviously, there's not too much change. There's two different scenarios there. Watch out for the FOMC minutes later. I know some people are looking out for them, but to be honest, I don't know exactly what to think. Because on one hand, I'm thinking, well, they can say, hey, we need to do more, and if they say, hey, we need to do more, well, they've already done enough. So, inflation's come down. So I don't, I think it can only really be either a bit of non-news or it turns out they've said something crazy like, hey, we're going to pull Volcker them next time and raise the interest rate above 10%. That's the only thing that could be really bad. But I think they'd have to be insane to go ahead and do that. But anyway, I don't know. Let's see what that is. We'll keep you updated on Twitter, so follow us over there. And I don't think we'll be live because it comes out quite a lot later. I think it's around 2:30 Eastern Seaboard time, I believe, in New York. So that's like mental time for us over on the other side of the world.
Yeah. And then just a quick one as well. Put any coins that you want me to do some TA on in the description below, and I will probably add them into the altcoin video that I'm going to do as well.
And also, for those of you who want to actually follow us as we're doing these trades, whether you want to follow us on Femex or Bybit, obviously we have two different accounts there. You can go to the description. We have two links there. Earn up to $4,000 in cashback when you sign up. Make sure that you do that, and then obviously follow us on the journey and just sit back and then let AJ make you 50%. Results not guaranteed, not financial advice, all the disclaimers. But yeah, thank you very much for joining, guys, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow,
Take care,
guys.
everyone.